बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य जनञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुता पदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं साजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखं च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कंचना गौरंगी राधा वृंदा राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna and Hare Bol, everyone. Welcome to all of you to this Friday evening Shastra class, where we have regular Krishna Katha. Today, I will be discussing chapter 10 of the Madhya Leela of Caitanya Charitamrita. The title of today's class and the chapter are the same: The Lord's Return to Jagannatha Puri. In this chapter, devotees from many different areas come to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Caitanya Charitamrita, makes a very beautiful and very appropriate comparison of the devotees that come from all the different parts, different areas to see Mahaprabhu, to the many rivers that flow from many different parts and finally come into the sea. This is the end of all the rivers, to finally flow into the sea. We have to ultimately go back to the Lord. Mahaprabhu is compared to a cloud that pours water on fields of grain, which are like devotees suffering due to separation, due to shortage of rain. Separation from the Lord is like a drought. When the Lord returns to Jagannath Puri, his presence is like this nectarian rain that falls on the grains and saves them. Anything to do with the Lord actually relieves us of our separation from the Lord. Even when we are doing Krishna Katha, we are connecting with the Lord, and it relieves us of some of the separation that we feel from being disconnected with the Lord. I'm going to tell a series of stories today. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to South India, King Prataparudra called Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, we all know Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, to his palace. And he offers him all the respects as is customary, gives him a seat, and then he's inquiring about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, I have heard a great personality has come from Bengal and he's staying at your house. I've also heard that he is very, very, very merciful. And I've also heard that this great personality has shown you great favor. Please, please be so merciful and so kind to me. Please, can you arrange a meeting, an interview with him? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is very kind, and he says, what you have heard is true. But as far as a meeting is concerned, it is very difficult to arrange because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the renounced order of life. He's detached from worldly affairs. He stays in solitary places. And even in his dreams, he will not grant an interview to a king. But I will still try. But the problem is that he's not here at the moment. He is already gone to a tour to South India. So this is when he was on his tour, and this is before he has come back. King is, of course, surprised. He says, why has he left Jagannath Puri? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, well, obviously, such are the pastimes of such great personalities. They say, why do these great personalities go to Tirthastans? There's a verse here. Tirtha pavitra karite, kare tirtha brahmana, sei chale, nishtarye, samsarika jana. Great saints go to holy places of pilgrimage in order to purify them. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is visiting many Tirthastans and delivering many conditioned souls. We have actually studied this in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse 10. Maharaja Yudhishthira says to Vidar, saints of your caliber, as exalted as Vidar. He was a very, very exalted devotee of the Lord, are themselves places of pilgrimage because of their purity. They are constant companions of the Lord. They are so pure that they are forever in the company of the Supreme Personality of the Lord. And therefore, they can purify even the places of pilgrimage. A Vaishnav travels to places of pilgrimage. You see, spiritual masters travel to places of pilgrimage to purify them. And it is one of the duties of a Vaishnav. Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in this roop, he is a devotee. And he is doing what a Vaishnav devotee should do. And that is to reclaim the fallen, conditioned souls. A Vaishnav is very unhappy to see people suffering in material worlds. Very unhappy. It's often commented in devotee community when someone is down, when someone is not doing well, when someone is unhappy, the other devotees are concerned. When a devotee sees anyone outside suffering, he wants to do something for him by connecting him to the Harinam, by connecting him one way or the other to the Lord, because that is the only solution. Anyway, the king asks Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, why did you allow him to leave? Why did you not fall at his feet and keep him there? What Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied is very important. He says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is completely independent. He is Lord Krishna himself, and so he's not dependent on anyone. But I still did try very hard to keep him here. But because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead and completely independent, I was never going to achieve that. So the Lord stayed back lots of times, but he was going to go. King Prataparudra says, you are the most learned and experienced person I know. And if you address Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Lord Krishna, then I accept that as the truth. This is a very important point here. that the king is saying, if you say he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then I accept this as truth. If we want to advance in spiritual science, we must accept the words of an acharya, a bona fide acharya, a bona fide spiritual master. Only then will our paths be cleared for our spiritual advancement. Our spiritual master must, however, be a pure devotee of the Lord, unalloyed devotee of the Lord, and strictly following the instructions of his acharya. This is all about this disciplic succession and the parampara. And this is the true Vedic system. King Prataparudra is a Kshatriya king, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is a realized Brahman. Kshatriya kings used to obey very faithfully the orders of the learned Brahmins. And such societies were much more peaceful than what we have today. King Prataparudra gives a very beautiful, befitting reply to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. It's so beautiful, actually. He says, when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu returns from his trip, when he comes back, I wish to see him just once. I wish to see him just once to make my eyes perfect. The perfection of eyes is to see the Lord. The perfection of eyes for us is to adore our beautiful deities, to behold the beautiful form of the deities, and we will see perfection of our eyes. Now, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has a plan in his head, and he asks the king, he says, I wish to organize a nice place, a very nice place for the Lord, fitting his glory. A nice place, but secluded, but also close to the temple. And he's asking the king because he's using this as an opportunity to engage the king in the service of the Lord, to enable him to earn piety, to be able to take darshan of the Lord in the future. It's a very important point to learn here. When people ask us to sponsor something at the temple, when they ask us to sponsor something for the service of the Lord, that devotee who is asking us is not filling his own pockets with the sponsorship. He is actually giving you the opportunity to serve the Lord so that you may have enough piety to walk towards the Lord. So the devotee is actually being very, very kind and merciful to you. So when the king is now serving the Lord by organizing his home, he's thinking about him. What kind of place should I have for the Lord? What should it be like? How should it look like? What should it be like inside? So he's thinking, what is the Lord wanting? He's thinking about him. He is also remembering him. And when you're remembering the Lord, you are with him. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has allowed King Prataparudra to think about him, to get close to him by remembering him. And in that whole process, now he is also desiring him. And he's also missing him. So the whole process is happening for King Prataparudra. The king finds that the house of Kashi Mishra, for people who don't know the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are a lot of names that may be new for you. And for people who know the Chaitanya Charitamrita, yes, it's okay for them. But it doesn't matter about the names. You will soon get the idea of the whole story. And maybe it will inspire you to pick up the Chaitanya Charitamrita and study it for yourself. Anyway, the king thought that Kashi Mishra's house was perfect for the Lord. And so it was arranged. Kashi Mishra was delighted to be serving the Lord. And so now the Lord has returned to Jagannath Puri. All the devotees go to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Another point here to learn. They go to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and they ask him for his mercy. Please, can you give us your mercy so that we can attain shelter at the Lord's feet? So it's following in the parampara. After visiting the temple of Jagannath, the Lord goes with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to Kashi Mishra's house. Kashi Mishra falls flat at the Lord's feet and surrenders himself and all his possessions. The Lord was very pleased and he gave him darshan of his four-armed form and he embraced him. When someone asks us to serve the Lord, to give up our homes, to do anything, we are very reluctant. Hence, the Lord reciprocates according to our surrender. So anyway, so different devotees are now coming to serve the Lord and take darshan of him. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is introducing these devotees to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's a very beautiful address. To begin with, he says, all these people are residents of Nilachal, Jagannath Puri, and they have been in anxiety to meet you because they have missed him. He's not been there and they have missed him. And he makes an analogy of a thirsty bird which makes a loud crying noise, a chataka bird who cries. His sound is like he's crying in disappointment. And he says, in your absence, these people have been exactly like thirsty chataka bird. Chatak bird. I'm not so sure on my pronunciation here. Please accept them. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is introducing these devotees to the Lord and asking him to accept them. And the point here for us to learn again is, it is by the mercy of our spiritual master or our seniors that we get the mercy of the Lord. He introduced many great devotees, many exalted devotees. Again, the names may not mean a lot to you, but I'll still just mention a few anyway. There was Janardana, who was the servant of Lord Jagannath. He used to render service to the Lord that when it was time to renovate the Lord after such a time, his transcendental body, they would renovate the Jagannath deity. It would be his job. There was Krishnadas, there was Sikhi Mahiti, who was in charge of the writing, Pradyumna Mishra, who was chief of the Vaishnavas, Murari Mahiti, brother of Sikhi Mahiti, who had nothing to do with anything except the Lord's lotus feet. And these pure devotees serve as ornaments to Jagannath Puri. That's what makes Jagannath Puri what it is. It is the presence of the Lord and his devotees, his beautiful devotees. And when he's introducing, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying to Lord Chaitanya, they are always undeviatingly meditating upon your lotus feet. And after this introduction, all of them fall down like rods at the Lord's feet. And the Lord embraces them all, each and every one of them. What a beautiful way to be introduced to the Lord by your spiritual master. Your spiritual master does that for you at all times, at various points in life. Anyway, at this time, Bhavananda Raya came. Bhavananda Raya is the father of the famous Ramananda Raya. Bhavananda Raya has 5 sons. And his oldest son is Ramananda Raya. Ramananda Raya is very loved by Lord Caitanya. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu spoke very respectfully and with great affection to Bhavananda Raya. If I really love somebody, then when I will meet the parent of the person that I love so much, I am going to honor that person. Caitanya Mahaprabhu spoke very respectfully of Ramananda Raya. He honored Bhavananda and he says, it's an excellent phrase. The glories of a person who has a jewel-like son, like Ramananda Raya, cannot be described within this mortal world. And this is the Lord talking about. You know, when parents go to parents' evening at school and a teacher is praising their child, they are so happy and so proud. Imagine here, the Lord of the universe is praising your son to you. How amazing and how kind and compassionate is the Lord for doing that, for accepting the love of the devotee and reciprocating that love of the devotee by honoring him to his father. I think I found that so beautiful, and how compassionate is the Lord is unbelievable. He continues to say something which maybe a lot of you would be quite interested to know, that you are Maharaja Pandu himself, and your wife is Kunti Devi herself, and your highly intelligent and intellectual sons are the 5 Pandav brothers. Everybody likes a little bit of information like that, I think. Anyway, Bhavananda is a Shudra. As you know, we discussed in an earlier class that Ramananda Raya was a Shudra. And he says, I'm in the 4th class of social order and I engage in mundane affairs. And although I'm so fallen, you have still touched me. This is proof that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 5.18, there's a comparison, there's a translation goes as, a humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. The Lord considers the spiritual position of Ramananda Raya and his brothers. And the servants of the Lord are also similarly inclined. The servant of the Lord does what the master does. The servant is not supposed to do what the master doesn't approve of. If you want to please your master, you will do exactly as he asks you to do. And the Lord, by his own example, is saying that we look at the spiritual position of the person, that we are not to look down on anyone, that this does not matter. He gives shelter to anyone, any living entity, regardless of his position or his material status. Obviously, Bhavananda Raya is very pleased, and he is so appreciative of Caitanya Mahaprabhu's praise and favor And he says, along with my home, riches, servants, and 5 sons, I surrender myself at your lotus feet. This is surrender. Surrender is not, I will give you a bit, because again, as I said just a couple of minutes ago, because the Lord reciprocates accordingly. Why is the Lord not giving us an embrace? Why is the Lord not showing us the forearm? We are not doing for the Lord what these exalted devotees have done for the Lord, what these exalted devotees did for the Lord. We are not anywhere close to, hence we cannot question why is it not happening to us. We are not loving the Lord in that way. So these exalted devotees deserved to be embraced by the Lord. There's a famous song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and it means basically, when we surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, we do with everything in our possession, our house, our body, our mind, and whatever else we possess. Srila Prabhupada says, however, very important point again, if we can surrender with all our family members, there is no need to take sannyas. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loves Ramananda Raya, who is Arjun in Krishna Leela. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, how sweet is this? Ramananda Raya is coming in 5 to 7 days. As soon as he arrives, my desires will be fulfilled. Because I take great pleasure in his company. And after saying this, he embraces Ramananda Raya's father, Bhavananda. Imagine this beautiful scene. Imagine the love of the Lord for his devotees. It is like beyond imagination. Anyway, then there is now, I'm going to move on to the story of Kala Krishnadas, who was a personal assistant to the Lord, but left the Lord to go and associate in bad company. Excuse me. The bad company of gypsies, nomads. They were called the Bhattataris. The Lord rescues him from them, and then he brings him back to Jagannath Puri, but now he was going to tell him to leave. Kala Krishnadas was basically influenced and allured by these people who enticed him with women. You wonder why. Someone who's associating with a Lord got enticed by women. Maya is so strong. And Kala Krishnadas left the Lord to go and associate with women. Why? Due to this slight independence that we are given by the Lord, even someone associating with the Lord can fall down. So what are the chances of ordinary people? We can all fall down at any time. And when we fall down, what is going to happen to us is we're just making our material life more miserable. So what is important so that we don't fall down? We are constantly in the association of devotees. As soon as Kala Krishnadas was in the association of these gypsies and nomads and women, he was influenced. So if he didn't get influenced by them, he would have been fine. So anyway, now the Lord has brought him away from there and come to Jagannath Puri. And he has basically told him, you can now leave. He's not going to forgive him. I saved you then. Or what kind of behavior is this? Now you can go. Now he's rejected by the Lord, and he's very sorry. And he's crying, and he's sad. And who comes to help him? The devotees of the Lord and Lord Nityananda. The devotees of the Lord are even merciful to the people who have been rejected by the Lord himself. They are so kind. Lord Nityananda is even kind. He is so kind that they are thinking, what should we do? How should we still engage him in the service of the Lord? That poor soul's life is over. He has been rejected by the Lord. Let us do something that we can still continue to engage him in service. And that is the attitude of devotees. The devotees want to help the most downtrodden people and engage them in the service of the Lord. So they gave Kala Krishna Das the job to go to Bengal. They had to send somebody to Bengal. Somebody had to go and inform the devotees in Bengal, Sachi Mata, Advaita Acharya, and many other devotees, that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has now arrived in Jagannath Puri. So who's going to do this job of traveling? So they think, okay. Now, obviously, if the Lord has told him to go, they have to get the Lord's permission again. So they go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and ask, please, can we please send him to Bengal? And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, do whatever you want. When you're saying do whatever you want, you have actually agreed, because you don't want to not agree with your devotees. The Lord always wants to please his devotees. He doesn't want to say no to his devotees, because the devotees are trying to help everyone connect with the Lord. And the Lord wants everyone to connect with him. Anyway, so this gave Kala Krishna Das the wonderful opportunity to, although being rejected by the Lord, continue to serve him in this way. So he goes to Bengal. He meets with Sachi Mata. Imagine you're having darshan of the Lord's mother. Imagine you're going to see Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya doesn't need any, as a material line would be to say, doesn't need any excuse to party. He decides to have a celebration of 2 to 3 days. Kirtan, and more kirtan, and more prasad, and more kirtan. 2 to 3 days. And what are they celebrating? The Lord has returned to Jagannath Puri. Let us make a plan to go and visit him. And as I said in the very beginning, all the rivers flow into the sea. All the devotees throughout the country finally come to take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he shows mercy to all of them. Now I'm going to touch on another person here, another great exalted person called Swarup Damodar. When Swarup Damodar came, he fell at the Lord's feet. The Lord says, it's so beautiful. I find Chaitanya Charitamrita, if I had to describe it to anyone, I will just say, it's just so sweet. It's just sweetness. The Lord says, I saw in my dream that you were coming. The Lord is saying to the devotee, I saw in my dream that you were coming. And so this is very auspicious. I have been like a blind man. The Lord is saying, I have been like a blind man, but your coming here restores my vision. How much love did the Lord have for Swarup Damodar? Swarup Damodar was a very, very intimate friend of the Lord. He was previously called Purushottam Acharya. But when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he just went crazy. He said, it was like a mad person. And he goes off to Varanasi, takes sannyas, and then goes and takes shelter of the Lord. There's actually a lot of very beautiful verse which actually shows Swarup Damodar's humility. And I could just read the 2 verses. My dear Lord, please excuse my offense. I gave up your company to go elsewhere. I do not possess even a trace of love. If I did, how could I have gone to another country? So I am most sinful. I gave you up, but you did not give me up. By the rope of your mercy, you bound me by the neck and brought me back again to your lotus feet. The Lord loves Swarup Damodar so much. Someone loves you so much. And the Lord is saying, you can just see, the Lord is saying that when you will come, I saw you in my dream, and that I'm like a blind person. And as soon as you will come, it is amazing. So the humility of such a person who is so loved by the Lord. You know, if the king likes you very much, you're very proud. Oh, I'm in favor of the king. Here, the Lord is loving him so much. But look at the humility of him, that he is so humble. It was actually used to be the practice of Swarup Damodar to examine all the literatures. And his job was to make sure that the conclusion of the literatures was correct. Only then it would be allowed to be heard by Lord Caitanya. Apparently, Swarup Damodar was a great musician. He is compared to the Gandharvas, the heavenly Gandharvas, for his music skills. And he's compared to Brahaspati, the priest of the heavenly gods, for his scriptural discussions. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita clearly states that it should be concluded that there is no great personality like Swarup Damodar. I'm going to talk to you about another personality, great exalted personality. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was informed that Brahmananda Bharati, again, don't worry about the names, had come to see him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmananda Bharati is like my spiritual master. It is better I go see him. And after saying this, suddenly Mahaprabhu and his devotees come in the presence of Brahmananda Bharati. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees come closer, he saw that he's wearing a deer skin, and the Lord was not happy. So he pretended that he hasn't seen it. Instead, he says, where is Brahmananda Bharati, my spiritual master? This is not Brahmananda Bharati. Don't you know? Brahmananda Bharati. Why would Brahmananda Bharati wear a deer skin? When Brahmananda Bharati heard this, he knew that Lord Chaitanya had not approved of his deer skin, and he realized his mistake. And in his mind, he thought, I put on this deer skin for prestige. A lot of sannyasis used to do that. But he realized this is not correct, and the Lord had corrected him. Wearing the deer skin is not going to take you out of this ocean of missiles. And in his head, he thought, from today, I shall not wear the deer skin. As soon as Brahmananda Bharati had decided this in his mind, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had understood his mind and immediately sent for robes, sannyasi robes for him. And as soon as Brahmananda Bharati gave up his deerskin and covered himself in sannyasi robes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and offers his respects to him. And Brahmananda Bharati, of course, he says, if I go against your wishes, I am afraid I'm too scared that you will not just, you will neglect me. Anyway, there are some loving discussions between Brahmananda Bharati and Lord Chaitanya. And I'll just touch on one. Brahmananda Bharati says, now I see two Brahmans. One Brahman is Lord Jagannath, who does not move and is blackish, Shamavarna. And the other Brahman, who is moving, is you, the fair-complexioned Gauravarna. Both of you are delivering the whole world, Jagatarana. Lord Chaitanya says, actually, to tell you the truth, due to your presence, there are now two Brahmans at Jagannath Puri, both you and me. Whereas the blackish Jagannath is sitting tight and not moving. Brahmananda Bharati wanted to prove that there is no difference between the Supreme Lord and the Jiva. But he also was saying that him and Brahmananda Bharati were Jivas, and although the Jivas are Brahman, there are many. But the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Brahman, is only one. And he also wanted to prove that Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya are the same, the one, Supreme Lord. But it was to fulfill the mission that Lord Chaitanya appeared to be moving while Lord Jagannath was not moving. Brahmananda Bharati asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to be the mediator in their loving discussions. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, the disciple is always defeated. Now, Brahmananda Bharati says, it is your natural instinct, O Lord, to accept defeat voluntarily at the hands of your devotee out of love. Brahmananda Bharati expands and says, I have been meditating on the impersonal Brahman, Nirakar, since my birth. But since I have seen you, I have fully experienced Krishna, and feeling his presence in my mind and seeing him before my eyes, I now want to chant his holy name. Within my heart, I consider you to be Krishna, and therefore I am eager to serve you. And Lord Chaitanya says, it's purely because your eyes, wherever your eyes are seeing, you're seeing the Lord, and that is making your Krishna, your ecstasy, making you more ecstatic, and simply raising your Krishna consciousness, your awareness of the Lord. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is loving and enjoying this conversation, and he says, both of you are right. And he continues to say, without having ecstatic love for Krishna, one cannot see him directly. And when he's saying that, he's basically also saying, he says, it is through the mercy of the Supreme Lord, it's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, that Brahmananda Bharati has acquired direct vision of the Lord. Of course, Lord Chaitanya doesn't want Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to call him the Lord. He says, what are you saying? Lord Vishnu, save me. This glorification is like aparad. No, he doesn't want to be called the Lord, because in this way, as he has only come as a devotee. While he chooses to show, when he chooses to show his four-armed form, and while he will agree when he will at some points, he has come as a devotee and wants to be a devotee. Anyway, Brahmananda stayed with Lord Chaitanya till the end at his residence. Before I end, I want to just go over some points that I made earlier, just as a reminder, so that we go away remembering some of the things that we talked about or heard, should I say. The purpose of our life is to go back to the Lord. When we do Krishna Katha, or we do anything to do with Krishna, it relieves us of separation from the Lord. When someone engages in the service, he is becoming closer to the Lord. When anyone engages us in service, it is their mercy. And the Lord's mercy, because the person is the instrument of the Lord, and it is in kindness of that person to help us to get closer to the Lord. The Lord visits the holy places to deliver conditioned souls. Great saints go to holy places of pilgrimage to purify us all. And to purify the dhams. Vaishnav devotees reclaim conditioned and downtrodden souls. The little independence we have can cause us a lot of trouble. The Lord is completely independent. Very important. We need a bona fide spiritual master to clear our path for spiritual advancement. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya engages Partaparudra in the service of the Lord so that he can earn enough piety to enable him darshan in the future. The perfection of our eyes is to see the Lord. Hence, the perfection of our eyes is to adore our deity. Surrender should be complete with everything in possession. By the mercy of the spiritual master, we get the mercy of the Lord. The Lord does not discriminate. So who are we to discriminate? Can we try this in our daily lives to not discriminate against anyone? Association is very important. Maya is very strong. The Lord gives us chances even when we have sinned. Even when we are at our lowest, he gives us chances again and again. Thank you, everyone, for making time to attend today's session of Krishna Katha. I thank you all. I thank the Lord's devotees. I thank the Lord for engaging me in his service. Excuse me, please, if I have made any mistakes. I might have made a whole lot. It was an effort for the pleasure of my spiritual master and for the pleasure of all of you. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has.
Hare Krishna. Has anybody got any questions to Gaura Harti Mataji? Looks like there are no questions. Gaura Harti Mataji, thank you so much for preparing so nicely and presenting the content in a way devotees can grasp it in a structured way. And, it's a wonderful service and that it does take a lot of time to actually sit down and prepare. Of course, devotees enjoy, but it's a service. It's another service that we all have to do it. So amazing. Thank you so much for taking time to prepare and present these classes, and also how nicely you presented the content, especially the interaction between the devotees is very important. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught some lessons to the other devotees. So thank you, Mataji. I've got just a couple of announcements that I need to make. So we had wonderful festival celebrations on Monday, on Tuesday. Monday, we had a wonderful Janmashtami. The whole Jain Samaj was full of devotees. And on Tuesday, we had Prabhupada Appearance Day. Again, that was a very successful event. And following on from those two festivals, we are having an extended Vyasapuja celebration of Srila Prabhupada this Sunday. This is an extension to the program that we had on Tuesday. And this Sunday, we will be reading the offerings of the individual devotees to Srila Prabhupada within the temple. So we request all the devotees to write a little offering to appreciate Prabhupada and his movement. Just it need not to be a big thing, just a few sentences from your own heart. It is very important that that the devotees take a little bit of time and write few sentences and offer it to Srila Prabhupada. Whatever we appreciate, that will eventually go to Sri Krishna. So when we appreciate Guru, that appreciation will be transferred. Guru will transfer the appreciation to Sri Krishna. So I request that all devotees take time out, just a few sentences, to appreciate Srila Prabhupada and this movement. And the other thing to note is that beginning from this Sunday, the temple program is back to pre-COVID schedule. i.e., the program starts at 12:30 with the Aarti, and then followed by class and prasadam. It is normal, but this Sunday is exception. It's an exceptional case where we start reading offerings from 12:30 onwards. The Aarti can go on at the background, but we will start reading the offerings from 12:30 onwards. And I also request all the devotees kindly wear masks, especially when you are in the temple. If you're outside, it's okay. But I humbly request to all the devotees, please do wear masks in the temple. When you're cooking, when you're serving prasadam, when you're mingling with others. Of course, when you are eating, you can't wear masks, but other times we all should endeavor to wear masks. So that's it from my side. Madhav Kumar Prabhu, have you got anything to say? And also tomorrow is being first Sunday. There is a Srimad Bhagavatam online class starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. And the topic is Song of Avanti Brahman. Wonderful, wonderful story. So just, whenever you feel depressed, just open Avanti Brahman story from Srimad Bhagavatam. You will learn a lot. One of my favorite stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. So please, if you have time, do attend in the morning. Hare Krishna, over to you, Madhav Kumar Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and thank you, Gaurav, for narrating such wonderful pastimes, interactions of the Lord with his devotees, and bringing out the importance of this most wonderful text we have, Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita. It is one of the most important scriptures as devotees we could make use of and refer to. We are officially in the month of Bhadra. Bhadra Purnima is round the corner. Bhadra Purnima is considered very, very sacred and auspicious, especially for distributing Shastra. So we are urging devotees to either invite Krishna in his literature form in their own homes, or you could recommend it to a friend and family, and we are happy to support that. So please encourage your friends to also partake in such wonderful literature that is available. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are officially in the Bhadra month. Bhadra Purnima is around the corner. There are great spiritual benefits, and of course for everyone. So please, happy to support and be in touch. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai,
jai.
Jai.
Her Grace Gaura Harti Mata ji ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.